And here with the Digital Digest, and today I wanted to share a first look at the Sony 200 to 600 millimeter G Series FE lens. Now, of course, this is a full frame piece of glass, a little under 2,000 US dollars, and it's pretty much out of stock everywhere. I just received it for review purposes from Sony, and I have to say, I'm very excited about this piece of glass. I love my G Master 100 to 400, and if somehow this at $500 less can knock it off the block, I will embrace it. But, you know, it is a larger lens, a heavier lens, and it's something that isn't for everyone. But if you've been waiting for this sort of range, and I don't think $2,000 is exorbitant. They could have gone for more. They could have made this a G Master and sped it up a little bit. But I think this kind of checks all the boxes for what a lot of users, myself included, have been waiting from the FE, or for in the FE lineup. And of course, this was launched prior to the A9 Mark II, which makes a lot of sense, at least historically with Sony, to put out now, you know, since they've firmly established themselves in the full frame realm, to put out lenses like this in advance of debuting new bodies. And of course, the A9 Mark II is now out, also out of stock for the most part, and this is a perfect complement. Now, as I mentioned, I've been using this primarily, which is the G Master 100 to 400, 2,500 US dollars for this lens, a little bit less than that. And I love this thing. It's fantastic. It's one of the three primary lenses that I stick to and complete, you know, the range of at least what I like to shoot. But throw this into the mix and yeah, my bag gets heavier, but that's also a product of the zoom being internalized in the G Master. Here, in the G Series. In the G Master, it extends. It is not internalized. The lens assembly, every time, you know, you change whatever your focal parameter is, you're going to get an extension. With this lens, the brand new G Series, everything is in the assembly. So this is not going to get any bigger. There's no hide and go seek with this puppy. And it's expensive, but as I mentioned, they could have gone for more on this because it's the only native to 200 to 600 millimeter lens. I don't think they should have gone for more money, but Sony lately, you know, prices have been going up. The A9 Mark II, a lot of people were expecting more, and that price went up $1,000. A7R4 pricing went up, and it's just one of those things, especially with the trade war going on. It doesn't make anything easier. Prices go up without reason at that point, if you ask me. So a lot to like here. I will be testing it out with the A9 Mark II, which also just arrived, and I'm fairly excited about this camera. I mean, I think that it represents possibly the best full-frame mirrorless camera on the market right now, unless you absolutely need higher resolution, which I think most people don't. Of course, there's a segment that does, and that's when you walk away from the A9 Mark II. But the A9 Mark II, I'll be testing this with the A7R3, maybe the A7R2. I still have that, believe it or not. Still a great camera that now is a great value. But I will also want to test this out with some APS-C bodies. My A6600 from Sony is on its way back. It will be, but I am going to take this out and at least get some shots preliminarily before I ship it back, and just so I could see what performance is like with that outfit, since that is really best in class in the APS-C realm. And then possibly I'll throw it on the A6500 or the A6300, because I do have those as well. So let me just pop this on right now to the A9, and you'll at least see what that looks like. There it is. And I'll be covering, of course, both of these in depth because, hey, that's what I love to do. And again, I'm just glad Sony got these out to me for review. This is possibly the best combination right here if action shooting is what you're after, sports photography, birds in flight. This may be tough to beat. For its weight, I think it is impossible, possibly. And this will go head-to-head with it. Let's go ahead and just also see what this looks like on the A60. I'll put it on the A6600. Bear with me here while I grab it from the camera pile. Here it is. take off our prime 55 Zeiss f1.8 and get that on there. Because I do think the beauty of this lens in particular is the ability to use it with, you know, a wide multitude, put this out of the way, of Sony E-mount cameras. And the a6600 is basically the true mini A9. So this seems like a logical pairing, if you ask me, especially since this is a $2,000 lens, which is, again, even for an APS-C camera, is not insane. So this might be a great fit for those of you that are APS-C shooters that want, of course, longer focal range, but also superior quality to anything that was an option up until the 200 to 600 launched. And again, I don't think this is in stock right now anywhere. I mean, I will include a link in the description as usual, if I can. And I don't know, I may like this pairing enough to not think about the A9 Mark II, but I wouldn't put my money on it because the A9 Mark II does look to be, at first glance at least, the best camera that Sony has ever made, functionally speaking. Not the highest resolution, as we know, but the best overall. So it's going to be interesting. And the 200 to 600, I have a feeling I'm going to be happy with that, because if it's, you know, the performance with the G Master 100 to 400 is any indication, then I will. And also, there's been a lot of talk, people who have had their hands on this have stated that the G Master still has better fidelity. I would expect that. And this does complete my lineup well. I mean, I use the 28 to 135 power zoom FE lens, which of course is a kit lens for Sony's higher end video cameras, or at least it was. It's been replaced since then with the Super 35 version. And then, you know, basically transition to this lens when I need reach beyond the 135. And then I have the wide angle old f4 Sony Zeiss, which is a great lens and now a value. I was considering getting the wide angle lens that I reviewed a while back, but I don't know that I'm going to that new wide angle just yet. But either way, this may replace the G Master. It's completely plausible. If it can outperform it and give me the extra reach, I have no reason to retain the G Master anymore. I won't feel bad that between 135 and 200 I don't have anything. So this may be a better fit in my personal workflow and hobby to use than the G Master. So I'm just glad I have an option. I'm glad all of you have another option as well. But that rounds it out. Excited to get out there and shoot with this. Any questions or comments, please feel free to post them. Hit that like button. And as usual, please feel free to subscribe. Later.